We live in a twilight world. Okay, let's do a very quick recording. Last time I said I'd do a quick recording. It's meant to be 10 minutes. It turned out being like half an hour, but hopefully we'll get through this quite quick. So this one I'm going to call Illusion Warfare. That's my concept, my topic. I'm going to call it the power of props, in brackets, visual deception. And a few examples of props here. Got military vehicle, ambulance, ship. We'll get into that today. Choppers, fire engines, the tank, very obvious one. Tents, obviously another very obvious one. If you remember, like my first ever Illusion Warfare report, the first real interesting place I got to was the train station in Poland, where they practically shut every entrance and exit apart from one. They stuck up a few Red Cross tents. They turned it into a refugee film set, forcing everyone that coming through to perform as refugees, and merely putting these tents around created the illusion of a refugee crisis coming out of Ukraine. But yeah, man, props, the power of props. I think was it yesterday? No, the day before I done Illusion Warfare Report 6, where I went down to Portland in Dorset and I checked out this Bibby Stockholm floating migrant barge. Now, this Illusion Warfare Report is the quickest one I ever did, man. I think I went and done the filming and investigation and posted it within 24 hours, man. So, I mean, it's definitely worth a look. If you've got Twitter or X or whatever the fuck it's called now, definitely go and have a look. You can probably get through it in about 6 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. If you don't have Twitter or X, no, do not download them just to look at this. It's not that great. The main thing, so just so you know, yeah, those of you outside of the UK, the Bibby Stockholm is a giant floating accommodation. And it's meant to house, 500 male-only asylum seekers, yeah? It's got like 220, wink, wink, rooms. And yeah, man, they've parked it up in Dorset theatrically, on a location, what I would call a film set, because it's sealed off from the public. You can't get there in any which way. And, we've always had... immigration's always been a problem in the UK. I'm not for or against, so I don't really give much energy away to immigration. But this whole illusion op of parking this barge in plain sight, but obviously inaccessible to the public, is part of black magic, yeah? It's what we call, it's theatrics on the street, which obviously creates theatrics in the mind, yeah? Of course, like I just said, we do have, the UK, Great Britain has always had immigration problems, but for the vast majority of people, it's not in their day-to-day life. But when you park a barge up like that and flood the news, blitzkrieg propaganda, it puts, the idea into the minds of the masses, okay? And that's what illusion warfare is about, yeah? The purpose of the illusion is to manifest a real human response. And, it's perfectly timed, right? Because I believe we've got elections coming up soon in the UK. So where they're kind of like, with this prop, where they're, putting the idea of immigration into the minds, all it's going to take is some politician to talk about immigration. And once again, it will inspire people to go and vote, which is obviously consenting into the system. But, so the power of the prop, we're going to focus on that, yeah? Props are so important. There's obviously a whole list of things we look for with illusion warfare. They're always physical, right? Illusion warfare is aimed at your physical senses, right? So you can visually see the Bibby Stockholm. You'll be able to visually see all like the security guards around it and stuff. This one you can't go and touch, okay? So touch is not here. But they do have migrant buses driving up and down Portland on and off that film set, okay? So, okay, you know, you're not going to run up and touch the migrant bus, but you're going to get close enough to it that you can touch. People that believe this whole illusion op is real, you know, they'll protest. Of course it's real. I've seen the migrant bus with my own eyes, where they were probably just standing on a corner and a migrant bus drove past them. But anyway, yeah, this isn't the first time. If we go back to the scamdemic, one of the first countries to have like an illusion op regarding the phony baloney scamdemic was Italy. And what they did was they got a load of military vehicles to park up. I can't remember what place in Italy. I think they did it in quite a few towns. But yeah, the military theatrically lined up their vehicles on the streets in one of the countries that was the first ever lockdown. And obviously this was to create the theatre of the mind that the death toll was so bad that the military had to come with trucks to load up all the dead bodies. Of course, pure theatrics. These are props on the street. Theatrics on the street create theatrics or theatre in the mind. Another good example, very similar to the Bibby Stockholm, was in the USA. On either side, coast to coast, they parked up these big white hospital ships. There was the Mercy and the Comfort. One went to LA, one went to New York. Obviously, everyone in New York could look out the windows, see this big medical ship, theatrics on the street, or in this case on the water outside where they live, creates theatre of the mind. The average moron would have thought, you know, it must be real. There's a hospital ship parked up in New York. It must be all real. You get where I'm going, right? Just incredible. It's very simple, isn't it? Just parking up a prop, the associated prop with the psychological campaign that's going on via the mainstream media, blitzkrieg propaganda, and that's it. You're tying the two together. Okay? The perception of the reality they want it to exist in the minds of the masses is now being backed up by the appropriate prop that you'll find in sight in your walkabout real life reality. And yeah, man, they made a big thing about it, you know, as if to say that this is what they're going to need to deal with, you know, the amount of death that's going to come, which obviously we all know now is all pure nonsense. Over in Ireland, same thing, man. I believe it was Dublin, I'm not too sure. It was the dock somewhere. They set up a field hospital. You got your ambulance props, your tent prop, and they stuck a Navy ship behind it. This is part of the illusion warfare tactics, an illusion operation to scare the masses, right? Any general member of the public driving past would have seen this and be like, oh, it must be real. It must be serious. A Navy battleship is assisting the field hospital, you know. And it was all through the news. Obviously, the costumes, the guys in hazmat suits would have been walking around the battleship, okay? And this is what we're talking about, man. This would be an example of costumes helping to create the false perception, untrue perception of reality. And that, my friends, is illusion warfare. We live in a twilight world. There are no friends at dusk.